We are sitting here with Amy and Jody Marble, and today we're going to just talk about your relationship. And let's start with, how did you guys first meet?
Well,
It was at a place that she wasn't supposed to be at. It was a pool hall, billiards, and she couldn't take her eyes off me.
yeah. Well, there is some truth to that. A girlfriend and I went to a billiards place, and her dad specifically had asked us not to go, and I didn't want to be there, but she had seen somebody that she had eyes for, so we went anyway because she was driving. So as we're in there, we're playing pool, in walks this entourage of like 25 guys, quite a few, for this guy. And instantly I see that he looks just like Joey McIntyre from the Kids on the Block. So I couldn't take my eyes off of him. But he points out for me from across the room, and he goes, and I'm like,
And she came running.
See, this is just like relationships. You have two completely different perspectives of the same thing.
exactly. So I end up walking up to him, and it was really intimidating at first because obviously nothing was talked about, but he and one of his friends moved forward, and the rest of them half circled me as I walked up. And he goes, "My cousin and I think you're pretty cute or pretty hot. Pick one." And instantly, I'm just not wanting to offend anybody, so I'm looking for a way to pick
Choose me.
him
Yeah.
without hurting anybody's feelings. So I think, okay, I'll just ask who has the best name, because nobody can really get offended with that, right? Pretty safe to gauge whatever I want to
Unless
pick.
his name is Igor.
Exactly, exactly. But it was so funny because as soon as I said that, his cousin goes, and I go, "What's your name?" And Jody goes, "Jody."
With his own sound effect in the background.
Pretty much, yeah. He still denies that he says it like that, but that's how I remember it.
So how long ago was this?
It's 20 years ago.
20 years ago. That's phenomenal.
You should get medals.
We should.
So how long did you date before you decided to get married?
So we ended up dating about a little over 2.5 years,
Yep.
and finally got married in September. So we met right at the start of the new year, and then got married in September.
Yep.
And how many kids do you have?
We have
Four.
four kids. I have 5.
4. We have 4 kids.
So talk to me about, because 20 years is an amazing span of a relationship, to go from dating to marriage to 4 kids. What are some of the biggest challenges that you've seen in the 20 years you've been together?
I think one of the biggest challenges that we see is that marriage really isn't an institution of value anymore. And with that, Amy and I chose to be a little bit different, where we vested for the long haul, and we made the D word, we call the divorce D word, and we just don't even let it be in our thoughts or in our minds. So we take that out of the equation, and it takes whatever it is to have a solution. And sometimes it's hard, and sometimes it's painful, but in the end, we're still together.
Yeah, that's always good.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
So there's a lot of adjustments, I know, when you go from dating to marriage. So what were your communication styles like back then? Were they completely opposite? Were they similar? And how have they changed over the years?
Well, see, communication is for other people. I don't really care to do that. I'd rather
interesting.
just keep to myself and let it be.
And of course, I was just the typical girl where I wanted to communicate about everything under the sun. But yeah, so it's a give and take. I think over the years, I've learned to let things lie for a little bit and allow him space to mow them over. Whereas when we first started out, I did not know how to do that at all. And then he's learned how to talk. So, which is huge, because he would rather not communicate at all and just pretend everything was fine. So, yeah.
So what are some of the life lessons that you pass on to others? Because I know that you really have a heart for Christian counseling for people in relationships. What are some of the nuggets that you can pass on as far as somebody starting out in a relationship? Or I think you've probably told me that you also speak with married couples as well. What are some of the nuggets that you pass on to help somebody come from sitting on separate ends of the couch to coming together and sitting in the middle of the couch?
I think as we have journeyed with hundreds of couples over the years, I think the most valuable and just best advice that we could ever give somebody is to know that there is a point in a relationship where they do not have the tools to work through that.
Yeah.
And they have to recognize that, and they have to realize that it is important to go to an outside source. It's important to have mentors. It's important to have somebody else with an open mind to give them a tip or a nugget, whatever it is, to get through that barrier, get through that wall. Amy and I have encountered that many times. And
Yeah.
actually just recently, and it's been amazing, and it's
Yeah.
blossomed us, and it's grown us, and we never stop learning. And secondly to that, I would like to say that the biggest tip of advice to marriage was from one of my dad's friends, and it was on our wedding day, and everybody gives you little nuggets, and oh, it's all the honeymoon, or it's sex, whatever it is, it's oh, great, great, great. And my dad's friend looked at me and said, you will never work at anything harder. And it resonated with us, and now I do truly understand that marriage is a choice. You choose every day. You choose to be married, you choose to survive, you choose to stay together. Whatever it is, it's a choice, and it's a lot of work and a lot of effort. You're either working on your marriage or you're working on your divorce.
Yeah, one or the other. That's truly. And everything that you decide that you're doing, whether you indirectly or directly decide, you are either working toward divorce or you're working toward being married. It's as black and white as that. I think, too, a lot of times there's a lot of different scenarios that kind of go on, and just stimulating the conversation and the communication and not allowing people to shut down. And the constant reminder for people that marriage is work. It's the hardest work that you'll ever do, but the most joyous rewards ever as well. And it's something that's continual. It's kind of like your relationship with God. It's not something that you ever arrive at. It's something that you've always got to work on. And a lot of times people forget that. You know, things aren't always going to be easy. And life hands you curveballs and different things come and go. But at the end of the day, as long as you know that you have your loved one by your side, everything will be okay. And that's your home base. That's what you rest upon. It's just really kind of coming back to that understanding, that foundation, I think.
I love that. I love that you're saying to people you're either working on your marriage or working on your divorce. I think that really is authentic and real, and it gets to the heart of the matter of what are we actually here for? You know, why do we actually want to be married in the first place? So what's one of the biggest things that you love about Amy?
That she's stubborn as a mule. It's a curse, but it's the biggest blessing I think that we have in a relationship. I am extremely stubborn. I'm extremely headstrong, and she will push and push and push until I see. And I am so grateful for that. Because if she didn't do that, I'd just walk all over. I'd bulldoze, that's what we call it. And I'm truly grateful that she can stand her ground and stand up to me.
That's awesome. And Amy, did you know that?
Yeah, we're both very dominating, strong personality types. We're both very competitive. We complement each other in a lot of ways. We also push each other to be the very best. So not every single marriage, the skill sets or, you know, you're going to have personality types kind of come together. And we have quite a few that are very similar, and then quite a few that are complementary. But one of them is both of us are quite headstrong, and we're both very determined. So when we see something, we don't back down from a challenge very easily, which for people not understanding relationships going into it, that can be a huge downfall. But for people who know what it is that they're getting into and are on a path of setting themselves up for success, it's probably the biggest blessing that we could have ever asked for. God's been able to open doors and allow us to walk through doors that we would have never imagined if it wasn't for both of us being stubborn. So
That's great.
very
And
exciting.
so, Amy, what's the one thing that you love about Jody?
Yeah, Amy.
Well, there's too many to list. You know, I think the biggest thing that comes to my mind that I really appreciate and that I love is the fact that he's very much a truth teller, and he tells things like they are. And I admire his boldness. I admire his ability to speak up when something needs to be said, when sometimes most people would probably cower and feel uncomfortable. That's when his boldness comes out, and he's been able to speak truth in a lot of areas that I think given certain circumstances people might have ran and hid, but to see God work through that and through him and through other people and through our relationship, it's really inspiring. I love that about him.
Thank you. Well, it's been fantastic talking with both of you. Like I said, for as long as I've known both of you, I've always admired the fact that you still look at each other like back in that billiards hall where you locked eyes on each other, and I love that. 20 years later, I think that's a huge testament to the work that you actually have done, because most people want the microwave society, right? We want it 30 seconds or less or else I'm out of here. And I love that you didn't shy away from that hard work, and you're reaping the fruits of both of you being in it. And any last thoughts for somebody watching this that is either single, wanting to be in a relationship, or is in a relationship wanting to be married? Because you've experienced it all. You've experienced being single, dating, and now married with 4 kids. What would you say to somebody that's watching this that says, I want what they have?
I would definitely say that you need to take a stand, and that you need to decide whether you're going to have a marriage of biblical proportions where 2 people become one, and it's unity that God is in. It's a unity that's above and beyond yourself. Or if you're going to have a unity that the society takes in perspective. And the reason why I say that is, out of our friends, we're lone rangers. Not very many of our friends are left. You know, we've been married for 17, going on 18 years. We're kind of alone in that journey. We don't know many friends who have been together that long. And with that, it's because we choose to be godly. We choose to do what God has invested in us. And I know from the bottom of my heart that I am only half complete without her. I understand what God did. I understood that he took a broken man, put me with a broken woman, and created something absolutely beautiful. I understand what oneness is.
Yeah, I think really getting down to the basics of non-negotiables. I think whatever journey you're on, whether you're single, there's a list of non-negotiables that you have to have for your life course. Who you know you are, who you know that God created you to be. There are a list of non-negotiables that are interwoven in who you are that you really need to identify with. And then same thing going through the dating realm, that continues on. I think there's a list of non-negotiables that you have to have. And believe it or not, the list is very small, but they are very much non-negotiables. And people just need to identify with that and not stray from it in dating. And then before you allow that ring to be slipped on your finger, before you commit, before you go all the way and get married, just identify what those non-negotiables are for what God's put before you and in your life, and just pursue that and find somebody who syncs up with those non-negotiables.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. It's been a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Thank you.